Brickhouse Productions Premiere. Panoramic lifestyle. A vision moves in all directions.
Yeah. Parades in my city like Vegas. Like Vegas? I need 1 million people screaming my name. Really, I'm not with the bull, I'm stubborn, baby. Maybe I will or maybe I won't, and that's a whole lot of maybes. Got a whole lot of babies. They need some brand new Mercedes. Can't wait till we take flight. No more asking for favors. I got a plug on the west side.
We're back again. It's your boy Koffe Black. Casino Faith is in the building, and there is no sign of producer, engineer, and co-host Brickhouse. He is running late. I was 15 minutes early. Hats off to myself. Hats off to Faith.
I heard you're the late one. How the hell did this happen?
I've been on time.
You changed.
Turning over a new leaf, Faith. I'm turning over a new leaf, baby. Okay.
That big 2020 energy you got going on.
Man, listen, 20. You got to keep that energy. 2020 came out with a fucking bang, like a bang.
That's
okay. I'm a big fan of The Office. You remember that show, The Office?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of The Office, and there's an episode in, I believe it's season 3. I believe it's season 3, like episode 8, called Fire. Is it Fire? Oh no. Safety training or something like that. I forgot the name of the episode, but anyway, one of the main characters, Dwight, like he runs a fire drill.
Oh man, I saw that the other day. He throws the freaking printer out the window.
Yes. Yes. So somebody took a clip, right, of the scene, like where everybody starts smelling the smoke. So what they did was they started putting captions of on different people of like how the COVID-19 pandemic started. So it's like USA was like on Pam, and then Dwight was China because he started the fire. And then Michael.
It was on TikTok. Pam was Italy, and Pam was hey. And then the main guy, he's the USA. That was the one that threw the printer out the freaking window.
Yeah, Michael. It was great. It was legit great. It was hilarious. If you're a fan of The Office and you find that TikTok, you're going to shit your pants. Well, maybe not shit your pants, but it was funny.
So creative, man.
It was very creative because it painted the picture perfectly of exactly what is going on right now. Like to a T. It is, people just aren't, this is the problem with humans. Like, we're all anomalies, I guess you could say. Like, we're variables that are forever changing, right? And you can predict behavior, but then sometimes, even when you don't predict behavior and you tell somebody, you command somebody that this is the right thing to do, you need to do this to avoid this.
I mean, like China?
Right. You're going to have one motherfucker that's going to do the opposite every goddamn time. You can see danger. We know it's dangerous. And yet we do it any fucking way.
No, I have beer with my friend. I can't stay home.
Right. Like, I can't stay home. Right. Like, now, before, people would stay home and be on their technical devices, the computers, the laptops, the the tablets, and fucking phones sitting there, and then all of a sudden you tell them you can't stay home. It's just like when a diet, like you can eat right when somebody tells you you can't eat this, you want to eat that, or you shouldn't eat that, and then you absolutely have a craving for that. Like that's what's going on. People are being told to sit down, and it's just like, oh, but I gotta go do this. Oh, I've got to go do that. I've got to do this. No, you fucking don't.
Everybody develops a workout habit immediately. Oh no, I gotta go. I gotta get out. Start running.
I gotta get out. Yeah.
Where's the gym?
I gotta get out.
That gym membership I've had for a year and haven't gone.
Oh, I can't believe I can't go to Planet Fitness. Dude, when did you ever walk in Planet Fitness? Like,
just sign up. Duh.
Right.
Got
like,
a massage once.
I mean, I'm not talking shit, buddy. I love you, but I mean, come on, man. You've been hitting those hot links pretty hard lately. I mean, eating a pack of hot links for breakfast is not really conducive to your health, buddy.
You know, introverts are reuniting all over the country. They're excited, and they're not checking on those extroverts. Those extroverts are not okay. They need to be okay.
I'm telling you right now, I think it's good. Like, if you're an extrovert right now, you're like, wait a minute. I've been quarantining myself from people for, like, my whole life? Really? This is what you call it, being an extrovert. Quarantining. Okay. All right. Yeah, they're doing fine.
The introverts are in the corner, just reading books, excited.
Yeah.
They don't actually have to talk to anybody. It's perfect.
They don't have to talk to nobody. Nobody can come within 6 feet of them. They can actually punch them or spray them. They can do whatever they want.
Hey, yeah, biting violets.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Anyway,
it's a good time. Good time to be alive right now. Like, amidst this pandemic that we are in the United States, so for anybody listening to us that are not in the United States, we are in the States. And I feel it's pretty safe to say that we are like 2 weeks, probably like coming up on like 2 weeks in of like it really going to like ape shit, like people like really losing their minds or whatever. And I was telling somebody, I'm like, dude, China's been like dealing with this since like November.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like, in Italy, we see where they're at right now,
Yeah.
and they're actually following fucking directions, and we see where they're at right now. Like, this is gonna be a nice little stretch. I know people that are still planning events. Like, they're still planning events, like major multi-million-dollar events with dates, and the date is like May 20th. I'm just like, yeah, that's not happening, bud.
Yeah, June earliest. I'm thinking August is when we'll be clear, but who freaking knows? I mean, here's the thing. The reason it got better in China is because they just shut that shit down. Like, it just stopped.
Yeah, they stopped.
And they said, no, you're not leaving the house for an entire month. And they were only in quarantine for an entire month because they literally couldn't leave until they were like, okay, we're okay. And now we, as the United States, we've got like, what, 3 states on lockdown? 3?
Yeah. 4? No, 4.
4?
Cali, Illinois, Indiana, New York, and Washington. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and even them, they don't want to freaking leave, but they're trying to.
I was watching the news the other night, and there was a whole full court like basketball game going on in Jersey with like fucking like 50 people out at the park, like hanging out like in a whole hoop game.
Wow.
What are you doing? What are you doing? And then in California, people were at the beach.
Wow.
Like chilling. What are you doing? Oh, it's spring break, dude. We got a cheap flight, $7. Spirit, $7, man. They can't beat that. Word. You willing to risk it all for COVID? Oh, it's not real, man. It's just a government ploy, man. It's fucking Trump. This, dude, another. They do it every time around election year. Okay. Again, I like me and Brickhouse were talking about it on the last episode. It's really simple. Like it's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
This shit is real. Yes, there might be something bigger going on. Unless you're in the 1%, or you are you have insight, credible insight onto what's going on, you'll never fucking know. You gotta sit the fuck down because the world is sitting the fuck down. Like the world has stopped. Presidents and CEOs have had to shut down their corporations or their events or whatever they had going on, and lose millions of dollars. They had to shut down and sit the fuck down. What makes you think you, sir, who makes $12.35 an hour, don't need to sit your ass the fuck down?
Although I've been looking up flights just because I think it's hilarious to see the prices of them. Mm-hmm. And we don't live that far from Vegas. You know, it's like a 5-hour drive or 6 hours. Right. Slow. And I just wanted to look because I'm like, how much is a flight to Vegas if we were to leave like right now? Because I was talking to a friend and she says it's dead on the strip right now. And it was $65, and it's normally somewhere between 150 to 200, depending on how far out you get from it. $65. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Millennials are like, well, it doesn't affect me, so therefore I'm going to go to Hawaii for $200. Right. I mean, before this, I was thinking about going to Cabo with my husband. That ain't going to happen. Yes.
Yeah, that's not happening at all. It's not happening at all.
I know. Flights are so cheap.
But the thing is, and I get it, life is short, and you're trying to capitalize off of a memory. Like, what are you doing? Like the CEOs of Vegas, Caesars, and I forgot the other one, the Wynn, who own like 8 resorts apiece on the strip. Like, they shut their shit down.
Good.
Like, they kicked out their guests like a week and a half ago.
They literally shut the whole thing down?
No, yeah, they shut the whole goddamn thing down.
Damn. No
it's too much. It's too much to try to control.
Oh, yeah.
That machine is too much to control. There's no way you can. The only way is to shut it down.
Yeah. I mean, casinos, man, they're like a freaking breeding ground of bacteria. Everybody's touching the same buttons, and there's
my god,
around and smoke.
Right.
And my god, it's like if you had any addiction, they cater to it there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
People buy stuff. I mean, food. It's just a breeding ground of bacteria.
Yes. And I'll one up you. Some of the individuals out there are walking bacteria themselves.
Gross, man. You don't know the half of it.
There's a lot of gross people in Vegas doing really gross things.
That too. I mean, Vegas doubly so, but people in general, body is just, you would be shocked.
Some people are just gross. Some people are just gross.
There's 10 times the amount of bacteria cells on your skin than there is like your cells. Something ridiculous.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so like they outnumber you.
And then people get together in a room under sheets and spread around those.
And other people, though. Come on. Had to make it fun somehow.
Absolutely. That's what we are, man. We are reckless individuals. We are and it goes to anybody, even when you're not trying to be reckless. You're a reckless individual because life is reckless. Danger's all around you at all times.
I do love it. I saw somebody post something on some social media. I can't remember if it was like Facebook or Instagram. But it was one of my colleagues, and she posted about how it's really impressive, even though we are forced to sit the fuck down.
Mm-hmm.
We're still trying to be productive. Like trying to have business as usual in our households instead of actually taking the R&R to just rest and relax. We're trying to still like do our jobs from home, being able to have all of our meetings from home, being able to do, and like it's only in the freaking US where we have to work 8 days a week and we just can't relax and just have the time with our families and have that time to ourselves and just take a break, because people are freaking out because they can't work, but instead of enjoying the rest in which they have to have because they can't do anything about it, they're trying to like hustle and learn how to do all these other things. And I guess I'll learn how to do 17 other things that, you know, are for my job. And it's just like, when are you just gonna calm down, you know?
But you can't. It's like it's fraudulent structure.
And then you
right?
look,
like
someone's going to look at you and ask you why you're not being productive.
Right, but our family, our family ties are like fraudulent structures. Like the home is not what the home was in the 1920s and 30s and 40s, even the 50s, 60s. Like it is. There are more quote unquote broken homes now. There are more single people. I think maybe perhaps like family, like wife, husband, kids, dog, like that's sprinkled about now. It's not the same, right? So, okay, you don't have that family domestic structure. All right, so we reversed it. So now the structure is, oh, I'm single. Like my structure is, I'm very type A. I go out, I do spin in the morning, I go get my yogurt, I go do this, I go to work, I come home, blah, 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 blah. The structure now is in how many distractions I can have and then sleep. So then it's distraction, sleep. Oh, and then this is structured. What is very structured? You must have this. And then if you are somebody that just lives kind of by the seat of your pants or whatever, I guess that's the phrase. I think that's the phrase. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, you're really flippant about life. You just live life with filled up with spontaneity. Like whatever you do, and those people, they can't sit the fuck down either because they spontaneous. They'll be sitting down 1 minute and they'll just go do this, go do that. It's very difficult. And then and we hard-headed. We are really an undisciplined nation.
Yeah, but that's how we were founded. We were supposed to be like a bunch of rebels. That's why we like broke off from England and we said we're going to do our own damn thing because we don't want to get ruled.
Right. And individualistically, everybody kind of does their own goddamn thing. Like, everybody does their own thing. And some people, they do their own things for like 8 to 10 hours a day, and then they come together. Like, that's another reason why people don't want to sit the fuck down, is because they don't want to go home to the place that they call home. Because then they're forced to deal with the wife.
No,
they're forced to deal with the kids. You know, they have to be within that realm, and it's a very difficult realm for them to be in. They've set apart a certain amount of time to be in that realm, whether it's 3 hours, 2 hours throughout the day, not fucking 24.
Speaking of, I think I see Brickhouse coming into the studio.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Is he coming?
Oh yeah, look at this fucking guy. Look at this guy. Hey, y'all can't see him, but he's walking in right now. I bag on this asshole all the goddamn time about appearance. Okay? And I tell him all the time, dude, you're savvy as shit in the business world. You got to start looking like these goddamn $1 million deals that you're bringing down. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy has on a Tide, you know, the bleach, Tide with bleach, the detergent. He has on a Tide t-shirt, a Tide novelty t-shirt. Okay? And he has on sweatpants and Crocs walking into the studio right now.
Quarantine has done you well, sir.
Something like that. Something like that.
What's going on, buddy?
Casino Faith, I see you made it back. Yeah,
I told you.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you check, I think they put your. I see you got your office. They're setting that up. If you look over there, I got your 360 bill. It's all signed and sealed and delivered. I think you're good to go now.
Is that my signature? I don't think I wrote it.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, listen, we got to talk about that after the show. Koffe Black, you actually beat me here today. You are 1% better, sir.
2%. I beat you last time.
Hey, let's not get crazy now. All right, a little bit at a time. Listen, I'm sorry. Let me apologize to the audience. I'm sorry I'm late. It is crazy out here. This COVID has everybody in a frenzy. All right, so I had to go out here and fix some problems for our clients. I've been listening to I had the intern tap me in for the feed, so I've been listening. You guys covered a bunch of shit I wish I could have been in on. But I've been out here, in the middle of all this, trying to fight some fires. The biggest, if you're hustling, like I told you guys at the end of the other show, if you're a big hustler out here, the forest has burned down, right? Anybody you see walking around out here is a wolf like you. They're a wolf like you. So either partner with them or they're coming to get you, right? That's all that's left out here right now. Wolves that are out here roaming the streets, right? And that's why I'm out there. No,
but what's great, wolves don't have a home.
No, you're not worried about it. You're comfortable. You like,
not the lonely wolf. They run in a pack, but the lonely wolf doesn't have a home.
Yeah, and even in the pack, everybody know what time it is. Everybody's out there for themselves. It's like we got together to make this easier, but at any given time, I really don't fuck with none of y'all like that. I'm a wolf. That's what it is. But in all actuality, man, what's been great about this is, with people slowing down, like there's people that I, need to talk to, and even, myself included, that you got to schedule like 2 and 3, weeks out to even get on their calendar for a call, or let alone if you're trying to get to sit down or lunch. Now I can call them and they pick up the phone. We can have them. We can set up a virtual meeting for a day or two out. And so it's great. Everybody has been able to coordinate a little bit more. So I've just been, trying to take advantage of that and work deals and put, sometimes like this is a big relationship building period, just being able to put different people in the same room, and because everybody has time to actually build a relationship now. It's not a one-off or in and out. So I had to, take a call and try to sort some things out. So, but that's okay. I'm here now. Casino Face in the building.
Yeah, I got a pretty good prediction for this how this is going to kind of change the economy. Not just the finance guy, but not so much on the financial end, but how people are going to, and companies for that matter, are going to start telecommuting now. And so it's going to change everything, because they're going to realize that things that are deemed essential, that took up so much time and so much resources, are now going to be telecommuting, and possibly having to outsource a lot of things that they thought they had to have in the state. So when they had to pay someone $15-16 an hour in New York City to pick up the phone, they could possibly pay somebody in Nebraska to do the same thing, because they're going to streamline teleservices and events, basically, so that this is just going to change everything. And I think he's absolutely right. We were kind of waiting for something like this, because in Phoenix, for instance, the traffic is terrible for people to get to work, to go sit in a call center. Why wouldn't that be at home? That doesn't really make any sense. And they won't have to, and the companies are going to benefit from them because they're going to have less overhead, because they don't have to have a brick and mortar. They don't have to have these other services. So it's going to change a lot of things, and not just because of the medical portion of it, but just everybody's relationships and companies and how they do meetings. And I think it's going to be for the better, personally, as long as technology can keep up with the need.
Yeah, no.
I think that's that's the problem though, right there. Technology is really great. It is incredibly great. But it also makes people lazy as fuck, because they absolutely wipe out everything else, right? They wipe out the concrete manner in which it started, and I'm sound like a fucking conservative right here, but it wipes it out, and then like the people that are coming up, that's the only way that they know, and they feel like that is the way it's always been. So yeah, it's a shift, and it's good. It's gonna be a shift for us, but then on the backside, what happens if all the power goes out?
And we'll have to reshift.
What, right. We'll reshift again, and you'll reshift back to, the way of the old. And then there's going to be some two asshole fucking interns that are smart as shit, graduated from MIT and this, that, and the other. And they're going to be like, oh, we got backup generators. We got this and we got that. Yeah, we do have backup generators, but it only powers so fucking much. Like, you want to watch somebody panic? Does the power go out here? Like I'm fly back and forth, but I'm not out here enough to know if y'all. Do you guys have like power shortages, like power outages?
Yeah.
Yeah, outages occur, but usually it's during monsoon season.
Okay.
That's that's when we get our
right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But it's not like. Because you're from the Midwest, it's not like the Midwest. We have what? It could be in the summertime, bro. We'll have what? Easily. You can have 6.
Easily. And don't let it flood.
And if it floods, fuck, dude. People lose their shit. They lose their shit without power, especially now because everything is powered off of it. The first thing people do is what? Oh man, I got to go on my car and charge my fucking phone. Like that's what I got to go on the car. Yeah, I got to rent a car and charge my goddamn phone. And if you don't have a phone charger, you don't have a car charger, and you're on low, like you're fucked. And people are losing their shit. And this is why, because they'll have 50%, and 50% will last them those 3 hours possibly that their power might be out. Like on a really bad time, right? It's like 3 hours. What's the longest time I remember the power being out where we're from is like, maybe like 8 or 10 hours, and they got it back.
Yeah, I think.
Right.
Yeah, back home. Yeah, I think that was the most. I think maybe once when I was growing up, we actually had to claim. You know how the Faith, you ever go through that where the power went out back home? Oregon, right?
I grew up in a militia. Let's start there.
Oh, here we go.
I grew up in a militia where we thought Y2K was going to wipe out everything, and I had to go in the backyard and refill the water jugs in the back. And I don't mean jugs like 1 gallon. I mean like a fucking barrel of water, and we had like 5 of them back there. Oh, and they were donated to us, but they were a Dr. Pepper barrel. So we got the extra flavor of Dr. Pepper in these water buckets that we were supposed to do. I had to learn how to shoot a bow and arrow at the age of like 8 or 9, because we had
holy shit.
And on top of that, we had a bunch of like toilet paper and all stuff up in the rafters. We had to like count our inventory of our food to make sure that we had like dry foods. It wasn't going bad. We had powdered eggs. Oh, and when Y2K was over, guess who ate powdered eggs for like 5 fucking years? This girl. Yeah. So like, that's one portion of my history. And then my dad, I grew up with 10 kids, and we grew up in the boonies. So we had days of power outs or brownouts with my mom. And therefore it was like, oh snap, everything in the freaking freezer is going to melt. Like, how are we going to put this together? We had to go get ice. And then there was backup generators that didn't really work. And so we'd have like no power for like 3 to 5 days. And so yeah, I've been everywhere from like not having any power to like living in a militia to like, everything is fine. We're fine. This is fine.
Wait.
We got to start calling her Doomsday Faith.
Oh, wait. So what is that?
Your family was a doomsday prepper.
One portion of it, yeah.
What was what's a brownout? You said a brownout.
Rolling brownouts are like when the power kind of turns on for a second, then it'll brown out, and then it's not a full blackout. Full blackouts when the power goes out and it'll be out for quite a while. So brownouts will be like you'll get a flicker, or I'll be out for like 10 minutes. It's just like happens in certain portions of the city. So my mom actually lived about half a mile away from a hospital. You could see it up on the hill. So therefore, our block didn't really go out. So we had more brownouts, but my dad lived in the boonies. So it was more.
So, all right. So, and Koffe Black, I think me and you can tag team this. Like, there's a lot of questions here. We're not just gonna gloss over this.
No. Hey, the full disclosure, guys. We actually had some shit to talk about. Hey, but we live off of essence, and this is too good now. Okay, so we got our co-host. She's signed a contract, 360 deal, Casino Faith, and she just unloaded a little bit of her life for us. And now we're gonna just dive into this because this is too good.
It's like campfire stories, you know. You gotta kind of unpeel those layers back.
Hey, I'll tell you we definitely fired up.
Yeah, that you talking about getting a Red Bull in your life? Someone's like, yeah, I grew up in a militia. What?
Yeah,
dude. Like listen. Full disclosure, we are all practicing social distancing right now.
Yeah,
we are in different rooms. We're practicing social distancing, but we're all locked in. I looked to the left like somebody was next to me. Like she said she grew up in a militia. That's crazy.
So like, when did you realize that? Like, when did you realize what a militia was? And then you realize, oh shit. Like, you learned about a militia and was like, wait a minute. I think I live in this
shit. Did you connect the dots?
Very early. So
right?
This is putting my whole family on blast, which I'm sure they don't mind. But it was, I don't know. My parents were weird. My stepdad and my mom, they were really into like motorcycles, and I think they just had a really early midlife crisis, and they just thought the Y2K was coming. So they thought that, Jesus was going to take us early, and we all had to like hunker down. And they were really into going out and shooting guns. And so I learned how to shoot a little 9mm, a little like BB gun, 22s, all that kind of stuff. And then, we had to learn how to do stuff. So we learned how to shoot bow and arrow in the backyard. I mean, this is a 3-bedroom apartment. We're not talking about a house here. Like a little 3-bedroom apartment in the middle of town that we just kind of converted into like a little bunker of sorts. And I was real young. My sister was 5 years older than me, so she was in her teens, and I was in my, 7 or 8 when all this stuff started. How old am I? I guess it was like 90, 96, 95, something like that. I was 7, 8, somewhere around there. I remember so many camping trips, so many different stories when you like are cold and you got to survive and you got some extra clothes. And I remember that was really embarrassing. I remember when we used to put like our underwear on our head because we didn't have a hat at the time, and we had like our socks on our hands, so we didn't have gloves. I mean, I got stories. Anyway, I definitely got good at doing bow and arrow in the backyard, and we just learned how to be really self-sufficient super early, and we had a lot of food for many years.
So, wait a minute, still. So when did you learn that what a militia was?
I mean, it was pretty, it was well talked about in our family that this was a type of militia.
So did you...
And they would use the word militia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to be clear. No, you gotta be clear.
Don't talk about
you gotta be clear. You gotta be clear.
It was like a Christian style group. Like, I'm not Christian, my mom is, and they grew up Christian, but they'd have like Bible study, and then the guys of Bible study would be a part of this militia. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh no, that makes perfect sense.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
That makes perfect sense. You cleared that up beautifully.
So, no, you know what? You go, Koffe Black.
Listen, man. The reason why I love being me is because I have been fortunate enough in my life to meet some of the most interesting fucking human beings, right? Like, in all things, artists, people that are deemed like weirdos or not of social norm, right? Like they like, oh well, you know, and we chronicle these people, which makes them people to be like, oh, for me, it's like, oh man, that's interesting, dude. And it always happens on a whim. Like I don't seek these people out. Like it just kind of like falls in our lap. I ain't tell you something. I knew I liked Casino Faith. I knew it from the first time we talked in that production meeting. And now she's Doomsday Faith. Okay? Because Faith is one of the rare individuals. You are probably like the female version of MacGyver. Like if Les Moonves or whatever his name is that runs CBS wanted to come back out with MacGyver and do it with a woman, it's Faith.
Oh man,
like you can do a lot, right? Like you can start a fire, right?
Yeah.
You can start a fire on your own. Like you've got all the Girl Scout like points or like badges.
Without any of the cookies, I didn't get any cookies or badges. Bastards! Should have gave me a badge.
God damn, you was just learning off the strength. That's even worse. Like the whole part of being in the Girl Scouts is to wear that cheesy goddamn hat and have that vest with all them goddamn badges on it. And you was just out there doing it off the strength? Yo, man.
No,
Come
I
on, man.
me a freaking deer at some point.
Oh my God. This is awesome.
So would you ever go on Naked and Afraid? Where's your survival skills coming from?
Yeah. Wow, man, I've been gingified.
No.
Oh shit. Oh shit. But you know what? She says that now. Again, we are creatures of habit, right? So Faith, how long has it been since you've been gentrified? Like what's your gentrification timeline?
Oh,
a decade, 10 years?
That's a good question. Yeah, probably like, no, that's not true. I mean, I've gone like backpacking and that kind of stuff, and you just got that kind of stuff.
But you've been gentrified for like 10 years?
Oh,
10?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, 10 years. Let me tell you something. If the country goes to shit, like catastrophically, like the wheels fall off. And right now we feel like in some areas, the wheels have already fell the fuck off. But if it really falls the fuck off, and your husband starts panicking and shit.
Oh, he's from Alaska. We would be like...
Oh, y'all motherfuckers is cool, man. Y'all straight. He from Alaska. Yo, listen. Yo, he was born and raised in Alaska?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, y'all cool. Oh, yeah, okay then. Then there's no panic. This is a home where there's no panic. No panic. Both gentrified, no panic. This ain't shit. It goes to shit. Like, it literally blows the hell up. Fake. Oh my God! I was getting ready to ask your husband's name. You and the Hubs, y'all are good. You're gonna resort immediately. Your brain is gonna go back to. You're gonna just start doing the shit. You're just gonna go into survival mode. You've lived in that world a lot longer than you've lived in the gentrification world. This is muscle memory.
I learned a lot in medical school and like emergency medicine practices as well. So like when stuff happens and I don't even have like medical equipment, I've learned how to like, basically be able to close up wounds with like hair on the head. There's like different things you can use. You can use like glue in certain areas. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could use around you that it doesn't have to be like the pristine. If you're in a pinch, I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to survive.
Man, this Swiss Army Faith.
Sorry,
I want to see how many name puns I can come up with.
Swiss Army Faith. I like that one.
Swiss
AKA
Army
Swiss Army Faith. I like that.
Man,
Swiss
Army Faith.
So at the end of the last show when you were on, you were teasing a little bit about a past career that you had. So I think we need to dive into that. So if you remember some of those teasers, maybe kind of refresh the listeners, their memories, and then we'll get into what you used to do and talk about a few of those stories.
Yeah, you know what? What's funny about that? I think I did it. Well, how long did I do that for? I did it for like 2 years, and then like off and on in different positions. Obviously, not off and on. Like I stopped the job. I just got really bored with one position, so I went to a different one. But It was probably one of the biggest gambles that I'd have to say that I did with my life.
So you were taking risk. Were you taking risk at night? Was it during the day?
Yeah, it was an overnight risk.
Oh, all right.
I saw all kinds of things. You know what I mean? Jesus.
There we go.
We'll see
There we
at
go.
5 o'clock in the morning. My God, man.
5 a.m.
You ever want to know what zombies look like?
Man, there you go. All right, that's it. Hey, just tell them what you did, because I'm telling you right now, there's a demographic of listeners, and they're probably my fans, and they're thinking one thing. Okay, and let me tell you something. Dirty minds. Tell them what you do. Swiss Army Faith.
I was a lady of the night in a casino at a table games for multiple years of my life. So I worked all of the tables. Behind them, of course, I was a dealer, a table games dealer. So to be clear, I'm not dealing. I'm dealing cards behind the table, not on the table. So put the
Oh man.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So what kind of casino was it? Like, what's the environment?
Oh, it's funny because no matter what state you go to, casinos all pretty much resemble each other. So this was up in Northern California, up in Humboldt County, California.
Okay.
So this was in, I don't know, where was it? I guess it was closest to Ferndale, but it was Lolita was the technical town. Bear River Casino. I worked there. I started actually as a cocktail server because, funny enough, I graduated college and there were no jobs. Weird. 2010. The economy still hadn't recovered. I got my degree in cellular molecular biology, and I wanted to do research in cellular molecular biology, but there was no jobs for it. And so while I was studying for the MCAT and all that stuff to go to med school, I was like, you know what? Let's go do something different. So I decided to go be a cocktail server at a casino. And I was really good at my job, as you can imagine. They tend to put you in little tiny skirts and tight tops, and they don't allow you to wear jackets. So I was walking by the table games one day, and one of the dealers behind the table was like, hey, do you ever want to deal cards? And I was like, why not? Throw that on the list of the shit I've done in my life. Why not? That's another skill I could do. And I learned how to do the most boring game that I've ever heard of first, because they do these introductory games, which was literally like a giant wheel. But what's different in California than Vegas is that you're not allowed to get winnings off of a dice. But you can always get winnings off of a card. So what they did was, for the majority of games that you would have to have dice or balls or any kind of like object, they would replace it with a card. So for roulette, we had a wheel that you would spin it and you'd click the thing down, and instead of a ball turning around, it would stop on like a card, like one of the flappers, like flap, 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 and you'd pull out the card, and that would be the number you'd win on. Or like the craps table. So I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. I dealt, I don't even know how many, like 9 games in the pit at different nights, had different times, and the first game was just this horrendous Wheel of Fortune game where you just spin the wheel, like Vanna White style, and you just like pull the card that it goes, and then they win or they don't, and you like win $1, you lose $1. It was like the most stupid game I've ever heard of. And
Wait a minute. Hold on. I got to interject. Hold on, wait a minute. In California, there's a gaming rule that states that you can't. Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
So you can't earn winnings off of dice or a ball.
Correct, like the roulette ball. You know how it like spins around?
Yeah, roulette. Did they ever explain why that was?
Vegas has amazing lobbyists, and they don't want to share their games. So
okay.
And so they had to replace it with cards.
Oh shit! That I did not know that.
No, I didn't. I never even heard anything like that. See?
Yeah, I've never even heard every casino I've been to, and we have them in the Midwest. I went to a casino down south with Tunica, in Memphis, and I know there's a connection between Tunica and Las Vegas. I guess back home. Yeah, well, no, yeah, we've got casinos that have no direct connection to Vegas, and we've got balls and dice.
So we also had dice on the craps table. And the thing that was different was when you rolled the dice match up with a certain amount of numbers. We'd have 4 places and we'd have 4 cards. You flip them over, you mix them up, you flip it back over, and the dice position, you'd pull those cards down, and that would be your new number. So
that is crazy.
I know. It was really a pain in the ass, really, honestly.
So, wow. So all right. So wait. So it's night 1, all right? So you were the cocktail server. Let's frame this. You were a cocktail server, all right? You were doing your thing there. You were excelling at your job. You talked to the table person, and you're like, hell yeah, I'm going to upgrade, and I'm going to jump over here and jump on these tables. So you go through training or whatever you got to do. Fast forward, first night. What happened on your first night? Because you know the first night or first day of a job, like there's always something that happens. So.
Intense.
Go ahead.
Like, have you ever had a job where you had 15 cameras staring at you? Because I'd have.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, there's every camera in a casino can pretty much see. I mean, it's a small enough casino, it can see all of you, but there's usually like 8 to 10 cameras staring at you and staring at your hands, staring at you, staring behind you, staring at the players, like in any direction that they can like watch and make sure that you're doing the right thing. And I think the first night that I dealt, I like sweated buckets just because you're so nervous to be standing there. There's certain positions you have to have your hands. You can't put them behind you. Well, some places allow you to put them behind you, but you can't put them like down under the table. You have to have them like in sight, so you have to put your hands down. It was such, oh my God, I still clear my hands, which is like when you clapped to and then you wave up and down so you can see both hands before you walk off a table.
Right.
And the reason
right. I've seen that many times.
Yeah, when you do that, so that's how they do that. I see them do it. Like, I'll do a little flicker, and I'm just like, whoa. Like, I haven't worked at a casino since I was like 22, 23, 22. Yeah, I think it was.
Wait. Okay, let's stop. And Faith, we're going to play a game. We're going to play a game with you right now. Okay, Brickhouse, this is what we have to do. We have to think about all the real-life scenarios in which she would still clear her hands.
Okay.
Like outside of the casino. Yes. And this is years ago. Years ago. She's a doctor now. This is years ago. All right, you ready? Okay. So
wait, I got to give you a couple more rules.
Oh,
all right,
shit.
come on.
You can't go hand in hand on a table, meaning you can't grab with your left hand and put it in your right hand. It has to go on the table first, and you have to pick it up, and you have to put it wherever you're going to be putting it. So cards, that's why dealers, they do stuff with their left hand, and then if it's close enough, they do it with their right hand, but they never go hand to hand with chips, with cards, with anything. So that's one thing. So, and then another thing is you cannot take anything from a player's hands. They have to put it on the table first. So I have these things where I have a hard time going hand to hand with things still. And also those hands. Sometimes I'll find myself tapping some surface, telling them to put it down.
Oh, shit.
This is almost 10 years later. I'm just like,
wait.
Nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about this.
She's damaged. She's damaged from a job. And then, you know what? There are people right now that you have done that to, and they took that shit as a sign of disrespect. The fuck is wrong with this chick? Like, there's somebody like, part of my friends, like, this is exactly what they said. the fuck is wrong with that bitch? Oh my god, she fucking tapped until he put the fucking money down. Like I have COVID-19. Like my hands can't touch her hands. The fuck is wrong with her? That has actually happened in your life. I am sure of it. What?
I would not play.
Dude, fuck that. Okay, so you ready? You ready to go?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. She's done it at the gas station. Can I get 10 on pump 5, please? And she puts the money, the guy holds his hand out. She puts the money down on the table, and then she claps her hands. And she does the wave. She clears her hands. If people don't know what we're talking about, if you're not like versed in casinos or gambling, what we mean is
you're not a degenerate.
Yeah.
You're not a degenerate?
You're not a degenerate. What it is on table games, with a dealer, they'll like do like a little like clap, and then they'll like open up their palms, and then they'll like clear, like they'll do like a little thing. It's almost like a little sign, like a little baseball guy.
Yes,
does like he's got signs.
You have to clap your hands together so your palms are clapping together, and then you have to show the cameras your palms and the back of your palms. And the reason is because you can't palm chips. You can't put them in your hands if you clap, because obviously your fingers are spread. And then you have to show both up and down that you don't have anything. So that's why it's a clap up, down, and then out. And you have to go out the right-hand side of the table because the other dealer will be coming onto the left-hand side of the table. And this is all while the game is live, which means that the chips are able to be exchanged. Once the cap is on the table, then obviously nobody has to be standing there because the game is closed.
Let me ask you a question. This is like very military style. Did you put down that you were in a militia on your resume to get in there?
I blocked that out of my memory.
Like for special skills? It's always on the application? Militia certified, baby. In the USA.
All right. So
okay. Hey, wait a minute. It's your go. We're not getting off of this. This is great.
I want to say that you've used it in anger towards someone. All right? Like when you were just like blowing up and that was the way you ended the conversation. You just kind of clapped your hands and waved the table and walked away.
She was like, I'm done with the situation. Janine, I'm fucking done.
And that's it. She's out of there. And she exited to the right.
And she exited to the right.
Whatever way.
But you know what's fucked up? One time she exited to the right and there was no exit, so she had to turn around and proceed back to the left. Yo! That's crazy. That's crazy.
I think I find it because it's like whenever you touch anything, you have to clear your hand. Like throughout the table, you'll see people clear their hands every time they touch anything. And it's a real hard habit to do at first because you touch so much, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially when you're like dealing blackjack really quickly. I got really fast dealing blackjack. And so when I would be dealing really quickly, you have to, every time you touch your nose, every time you touch the chips, the cards, anything, you have to clear your hands. So it just becomes this like nervous tick. You just look like you're just constantly waving people off.
Yo, that's crazy. Like Brickhouse. You know where I'm going with this.
I think so.
Could you imagine? I'm taking this off of faith. Could you imagine? Like there at one point in time, it was like casinos around us. They were hiring a lot where we grew up, and it was like it was a thought for everybody. Oh man, go work in the casino. Could you imagine having sex and then clearing your hands? like I would think like you imagine having sex and just be like, all right, bow, clear my hands, all right, I'm out. Like I got like
out the right.
Well, you know what's even what if the female did it to you?
Oh man, like after like
yeah.
Oh man, bro, what the fuck was that? Like, did she just clear my dick out? That is amazing. That would be again muscle memory. You go. She does it all the time. It's second nature.
out is muscle memory.
You say it's what?
I said, is that a pun of clearing your dick out that it's muscle memory?
No.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't see that one coming.
All right.
Doomsday faith. Yo, that's dope, man. Yo, I'm like, man, that's wild. That's some wild shit. You clearing all kind of shit out all the time.
I wouldn't say
you make dinner. You make dinner for a hub. It's like, oh, this is your plate, babe. Clear out.
I just find myself still doing the flicker, not so much the clap. You know what I mean? It's just like but it just looks like I'm just waving at a lot of things. Just looks like a nervous tick. But it's not as bad. Obviously, it's been 9 years since I did any of that. Well, 8 years.
Have you ever done it so much that one of your friends noticed that you do it, but they didn't know that where you were? They didn't know, and so they asked you. They'd be like, what was that? Has anybody ever just asked you what was that?
I think a lot of people just looked at me really weird, and then I had to explain because I realized what I did, and then
yeah.
Because when I went to school, nobody knew about me working at a casino before, so they were just like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Especially fresh out of leaving that position.
So I just wanted to ask you that for our listeners. That's how if you don't know what we're talking about with clearing out, that's how obvious that shit is. If somebody did it outside of the casino, you would be like, what the fuck was that? It is really weird to be doing that outside of gaming.
I don't feel that's that weird though. I feel like you have to train yourself that rigorously because it's a real the job, they take that shit seriously. If you have to do quick math on the table, obviously, because you're paying out the weirdest odds. And you have to do things at such a quick pace because you have all of these players and you want to be making as much money as possible because you want to be, dealing as fast as possible. The faster you deal, the more money you make, unless you're having a bad day and it's more money you take. And that's just not fun to anybody. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, you have to train yourself really quickly to do things like that. And so every time you touch money outside of that, you just automatically you clear your hands. And it's not something that you think about. And I feel like it's not that weird for my casino friends who have done it. I look fucking weird because I'm a doctor now. So if I touch people and clear my hands, they think I'm acting like they got the plague. But it's not that weird if you actually are around people. I spoke to people about this. I'm not that weird about it. You know what I mean?
So you need to open up you got to open up a rehab clinic for dealers.
Support group.
Yeah, they need a support group. So, and then here's my other question. What is a bad day? What was a bad day for you? You said if you're having a bad day, what's happening?
Have you ever been on a table where a dealer is just wiping players out on accident? Every card they deal that night is just it takes everybody's money on the table and people.
Oh yeah.
It really sucks to have those days. I've had people tell me, like I said before, it was one of the most abusive positions I've ever been in because people would tell me that I was working for the devil, you know what I mean? Because I would take their rent money, I would take their this money, that money, and obviously these people are idiots for gambling their rent money and their grocery money and their kids' money, but they would make you feel bad about it as the dealer because you have to take it. But whatever cards you dealt that day were the ones that would either be just great, you'd be on fire, you'd be paying out all this money, people would love you, they would follow you around to different tables to tip you more, so it'd be really good days, and then it'd be really bad days where all the cards were just not in anybody's favor, and then you just taking everybody's money every table you go to. And those are some pretty terrible days, especially when you're following somebody who's on fire. Oh my God, it's the worst. Because then they're this bitch.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah.
That a bad day is when you're making money for the company.
Yes.
And a good day is when you're paying out to the clientele. And then
I never thought of it that way.
And then that if that's not audible, I don't know what is. And then people excoriate you.
Oh yeah, no, I was like facing.
They have no accountability whatsoever. Like they're mad at you, motherfucker. You gambling.
Oh,
Like-
and if you dissuade people from gambling, like say you say something like, I'll be off this table in 5 minutes, or like you can't say anything to dissuade them from gambling, or you get suspended. I've been suspended once because a guy was literally verbally abusing me to a point where I called over my pit boss and had him stand right next to me. And I was just so fed up because you're at a table for like 20 to 30 minutes, depending on your pushes. And I was on this table, and this guy was like verbally abusing me for so long that I just fucking had it. And I was like, I will be off this table in 5 minutes. And that's all I said.
So what did he say? Like, what was the final straw?
That was my final straw, and I got suspended.
Yeah, but so what did yeah.
What was the buildup? Like what was the verbal abuse?
Oh, he was just kept telling me that like I was a terrible person. How could I take his money? He was telling other players that they shouldn't bet with me on this table. He was following me around to tables, telling people not to bet with me because I'm a terrible dealer. I'm really bad at my job. All I do is take money. It was like, well, then fuck you. But I can't say that. So all I said was...
So why didn't the pit boss and those people deal with that situation?
They can't dissuade players from doing it either. If it gets to a point where they start attacking me as a person instead of me as a dealer, which is kind of bullshit. That's why I left the job, because it was really abusive. And I'm sure...
So would they use profanity? Would they call you profane names, like female dog?
No, because that would definitely get them kicked out of the casino.
Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to. I was really just trying to find out where the casino's line is. Like, yeah. Where's the line? Like, you got an employee being abused.
They don't care about their employers or employees. They don't care about that. They could give a shit less. What's funny is that the house always wins in the end. And so the pit bosses and everybody in the crew and even the people upstairs, when people won big, they would celebrate that to the max. They'd always give people away free hotel rooms, blah, blah, blah. If they were losing, like they're always for the player because the boss is never there. You know what I mean? Like the people who own the casino are never in the pit with you. And so we want to like celebrate people to gamble as much as possible because in the end, they're going to lose it generally. They'll come back and lose it later. So it's just such a weird environment to be in because you're like constantly being watched. Oh, and if you pay over $15 more than 3 times in a month, you get fired. So it was like this high constant stress of like you get suspended after this first 2 times, and then the 3rd time you do it, you get fired for $15.
So how much an hour did you make doing that job?
Oh, an hour? I was federal, so it was like $7.25 an hour. So
God
the thing
damn, bro.
Sometimes were really good, but they were 100% taxed.
Wait a minute, the tips were taxed?
100%.
Oh shit! God damn.
I know some of our listeners was like, "How is this fucking interesting?" Listen to me. This is insight that you just don't get.
Yeah.
Yo, $7.25 an hour.
Yep.
Tips are 100% tax, and you guys gotta split tips, right?
No. So it depends on the table. Actually, you know what? I can't remember if it was $7.25 or $5.50. I can't remember which one it was.
That's even worse. Let's keep it at $7.25. Jesus Christ. We're just swaying right now. Casinos will be mad at us because we're just swaying future employees.
Good. I really gotta have like a tough ass skin to work in that position. But it really depends on the table. If you ever see a dealer when they leave their table, they'll have a box with them generally. And that tip box is usually what they put their chips in. Because you can't tip them in money. If you put money on the table to tip them, then they'll have to change it into chips. And then they usually do that little tap thing, which is like, thank you. And then they put it in the box. And so it really depends on where you're at. But like on a craps table, that one gets split. Because there's usually a box person, a stick person, and then a pit boss. And so that's a whole other story. Craps is so complicated. I don't even remember how many bets there are that you can like do on a craps table, but I think it's in the 100.
So
That's wild, man.
So when you got suspended, what happened? Did you just snap off and just walk off the table? Like, what happened?
Oh yeah, no, I just left all the money.
Yeah, like, fuck it, I'm out of here.
No, I like left. I kept my shift to the end, and then they told me when I left the pit that night that I wasn't coming back for like 3 or 4 days.
Did you tell them under your breath they can go fuck themselves?
Bullshit about it is they're like, I followed all your rules, and I don't know what to do.
Oh, yeah. She absolutely said it.
I just.
So okay, all right. So let's. All right. So you Casino Faith, the birth of Casino Faith after Militia Faith and Swiss Army Faith and Doomsday Faith. Casino Faith is going to the casino, getting berated from times, or having a good night when people like her and she's paying out and losing casino money, but the house always wins, so they get it right back. All right, what was the last straw with you saying, fuck this, I'm out?
Oh, I can't remember the exact night, but basically I do actually. Have you ever played Pygow?
No, I've heard of it.
Yeah, don't.
Okay. Explain to the listeners what Pygow is.
Pygow is like, I don't want to be offensive.
Please, absolutely be offensive.
Well, okay, so Pygow is like, what's the name of that other game? It's like poker, kind of, but it's a lot of like Asians, Vietnamese.
Okay.
Right? Like those people would usually play it. It's kind of like
That's what they be playing in Bangkok. Okay,
yeah, it's got a ton of different bets, and it's got all these different light up buttons, and the payouts are really weird, and I just didn't learn the game very well because nobody really played it, and so I kept messing up on that particular game. I didn't quite understand how to deal it. It was like what's the name of that other game? Sorry, I'm drawing really big blanks here, but it's one of the poker games that you can play with just you and the dealer and not in the poker den. Cannot think of the name of the game. Anyway, it was like a Chinese checker style of that, and so it was just a confusing ass game, and I didn't quite understand it, and it just was like all these like weird buttons, and you had to put things on certain buttons, and in the end, I just was like so done with the casino. I knew I was going to med school. I was working 2 other jobs at the time because I was working at a coffee shop and I worked in the emergency room as a scribe, and I was just like working there only overnight. So I was working like 10 to 5-ish in the morning, and they were going to fire me. I could feel it because I wasn't doing well in this game, and I was just like, I'm fucking done. I'm going to go make half the money somewhere where people are happy to see me, like at a coffee shop. And I still say that coffee is one of the best things to work in because nobody's mad at you when you give them a nice big old cup of caffeine. Nobody. They're super happy. Almost all the time. So
wow.
I was done. I was just like, I'm going to get fired. I'm leaving. Bye. And I kind of just didn't come back.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the story on Casino Faith.
Yeah.
God damn, that was man. You had a interesting, and you're young.
I am.
Like this, like you've done a lot, and there's still more years. There's still more years. Wow.
Well, that is So we went. Yeah.
Hey, you know what's gonna be great? Faith, do you have kids?
Nope, that's not for me.
Oh shit! I was gonna say what would be great is when Faith finally has a kid, and the first time she like puts a diaper on. And she clears her hands.
I have 10 brothers and sisters. I'm sure I've already done it with my nieces and nephews.
Oh yeah, and she's cleared her hands. She's cleared her hands changing diapers. Nobody be offended.
I think everybody should
awesome.
hands in their clearing diapers. That's just my opinion.
All right. The story of faith.
The story of faith. We learned it.
Man, I don't think our listeners know as much about us as they do about faith now. I've never went down the history of my Let me tell you, it's not enough digital memory for me to go down my story.
The whole lot. Too wide.
And nobody wants to hear that. Well, maybe some people do.
Our backgrounds are sketchy like everybody else's.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everybody's got something they don't want the world to know. Like, just think about that for a minute, people. Faith volunteered that she grew up in a militia. A religious militia on top of that. And then she was in a casino, you know what I'm saying, working for the wise guys. And then she said, fuck that. After having a degree you had a degree in what?
Cellular molecular biology with a minor in chemistry and dance.
All of that. And it said, like, all of that, that's what I'm saying. You guys don't know what y'all coming across in everyday life. That's why right now, in the COVID-19, you got to practice social distancing. But I'm telling you, you can meet via your Palm Pilots. Yeah, I took it back.
I took it all the way back.
I took it all the way back. You can literally, instead of talking to people about bullshit all the time, you could really meet some interesting individuals. Like, I had no idea. Like, we knew the backside of casinos were like the untold stories. Like, it's some wild shit. I'm pretty sure there's some people with wilder stories than Faith.
Oh yeah.
But like, and then she comes on. She moves on to be a fucking doctor.
That's what's crazy.
Like, she went from being berated at a casino and moving on to being a doctor. Like, it's never too late, man. It's never too late. And you're happier than ever, right? With your profession.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now it's a little rough.
Everything with the struggle doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Struggle doesn't stop.
With the COVID putting that pressure on you, the Rona putting the pressure on you.
Is the Rona putting? What is it? Is it the COVID putting the pressure on you, or the quarantine putting the pressure on you?
Oh, just the COVID. It's just how people are just dealing with it is just a stupid way. And what bothers me the most as a medical professional is that we let the media and the politics run the show, and we still do, because we can't decide on a system of how we should proceed, and we're so behind. And if we would have bottlenecked this super early, it would have been very different. But, here we are. It's just frustrating in the medical profession because a lot of us are just sitting back going like, holy shit, did you make a giant mess? And all we can do is sit around and argue with each other on what to do next. And, there are doctors out there. They're not only sick, but dead. There are doctors that are dead because they were exposed to this and they had to help all those people. And specifically in like Italy, where they just bum rushed the system. And the reason that Italy got a huge hit of it was just because of their population. A huge population of theirs is over the age of like 50 and 60. So that's why they're.
Okay.
It's because it's not because they had poor doctors or poor medical system. It's just because everybody goes there to retire. It's the European Boca, Like, you go to Italy and you're gonna like relax and retire. So
you go there and relax. You go there and relax permanently.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. You know what I mean? So listen. Yeah. So I had a call earlier today. It was a conference call with this young lady that I was trying to line up for this deal. And so, I always try to start off with some pleasantries. I'm like, hey, how you been? I haven't talked to you in a couple months, blah, blah, blah. How's this COVID-19 quarantine working out for you? She's like, yeah, I'm trying to work through it. I actually have coronavirus. I was like, oh, and again, it was, we were talking, having a conversation, but she was like, yeah, she was like, I have coronavirus now. Like,
You've got first-hand account of talking to somebody on the phone with coronavirus.
Listen, I'm gonna see if I can get her on the show. It's a super fresh relationship. Like, we've only spoken a couple times, but it just threw me off because normally you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to stay healthy, I'm avoiding it. I'm out here doing this. I'm in the quarantine. She was, oh yeah, I have it. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, I have it. And the reason I brought this up, going back to what Faith was just talking about medical professions catching it, She said she thinks she got it from her husband, who works in the medical profession.
Well, here's the thing. It's a pretty common virus for most people, and it doesn't really affect too badly the populations under the age of about 50 years old. If you're over the age of 50, that's when you really need to be taking a lot of extreme cautions, making sure that you are not only staying healthy, but if you end up getting sick, to seek the medical professional help that you need. But for the most part, if you're in your 20s and you're healthy and you're not immune compromised, you might just get a mild cold. It might not even be that bad. And I'm not trying to downplay it, because a lot of people, if they have to go get some kind of respiratory help or whatever, because it does affect the lower lungs, because of the way that the virus binds to the cells, it does attack something called ACE, which is an enzyme that happens in your lungs, and there are receptors in your lungs, which is why you end up having shortness of breath. But for the most part, it's a pretty common viral symptom thing. And I'll be covering this in a video pretty soon I'm going to do on YouTube about just what's the difference between the coronavirus and other ones, because they're pretty common except a few different symptoms. But when it comes to that, when it comes to our age groups, somewhere in the 20s, 30s, we might just get a little sniffle here, a cough there, have very mild symptoms. We might develop a fever. But for the most part, if we're having it, it's probably just going to be a common cold style thing, unless you have issues with lungs like asthma patients or, like I said, immune compromised, and so on. And they're saying sometimes people who have heart disease or obesity are more having issues with being more susceptible to it and then not being able to recover as well. But I think that a lot of times this is blown out of proportion because the media got a hold of it, and our current administration doesn't really know how to deal with crazy amounts of, really honestly, anything. So that being said, it just kind of went out of hand very quickly. And so we're trying to keep ourselves from not getting sick, but the people who are exposed, some of them just don't even get symptoms. I have a lot of friends who are like, yeah, I was exposed to somebody who has it, so I'm staying home, but I don't have any symptoms myself. So, the takeaway is just to take care of yourself. But if people end up having it, it's not like it's a plague or you're just like, oh my God, you have it. But at the same time, it's good that it's so rare that we're just like taken back when someone actually we know has it, because we're just like, but for the most part, we're all supposed to be able to get exposed to it at some point, even at a low-lying level in the next 3 months. They say everybody's going to be exposed to it once, which is fine, because a lot of us, our immune systems are fine and they can fight it off. But for, our parents, our siblings that have immune deficiencies, our loved ones that can be compromised, that's why we're staying home. Is not because we are afraid of getting it, but because we're afraid of exposing our loved ones that we love, that are older and have those issues.
Is that why people are going around on social media now holding up those dumbass fucking signs and say, I'm staying home for my wife, Janine. And I always use that name, Janine, by the way. I don't know why. I always do. I'm staying home for my granddaughters, Sarah and McKinley, and my son, Todd. It's a shit bag. And they sit there and they cheese and they take that fucking smile and they holding up that dumbass sign. Yo, man. Yo. And my thing is, I saw a dude do it and he wasn't even at fucking home. He was at a bowling alley and he had up the goddamn sign.
Yo, I was watching.
So wasn't even at fucking home.
I was watching one of the news outlets earlier, and they had I want to say either a senator or congressman, whoever it was, and they were asking him about the severity of it, and he slipped up in his dialogue. He's like, I was on a hike and I talked with some young people. He tried to catch himself once he said I was on a hike, because he went on to talk about how these young people were out in the mountain hiking and they should have been home, but he said I was on a hike, which means your ass was out there too. So it's like, how you gonna come out and condemn these folks if you were hiking with them on the mountain? That's how you had the conversation. And he tried to clean that shit up.
That guy's got a little bit. He's got a little bit of me in him. That is absolutely something I would do. Absolutely. I wouldn't even pause. I just kept on going. Like, yo, I was on a hike and I told these people, yo, what the fuck are y'all doing out here? And I'd actually said, what the fuck y'all doing out here in the press conference? No. Can't, no way.
Well, listen, people.
It's true. That's what people do.
That's what people do. You have heard it all. You've heard it from Casino Faith. You heard it from Dr. Faith. It's going to be okay. Don't panic. We're going to leave this on a high note. We definitely thank you, Faith, for sharing the insights of of Big Brother at the casino, and the boss that you I don't know, like what's the weird, like what happens between like 2 a.m. and like 5 a.m. Like Monday through Thursday.
Monday through Thursday.
yeah. Like what's
the weekends are given.
You know, sometimes the weekends are not as even good as the weekdays. You'll get a random crowd in. I think what it is that all the drunk people go home. All the serious gamblers are left, and it just becomes this like one-on-one with you and this one player, and everybody's hoping this one player goes home. But that motherfucker's sitting there, the same $5 back and forth, and like everybody in the pit wants to go home. We're all staring at him, and to be quite frank, there's like random hookers walking around hoping to find a John by the end of the night, and they're all in that crappy coffee, you know, that free coffee. We called it brown water because it's literally just brown water mixed with hot water.
Mm-hmm.
They have like free soda and free water, and like the bar shut down. There's no more food. People are smoking at their machines, and you're just staring, trying not to fall asleep on your table.
God, that sounds so awful.
Right? Just
that
wondering
sounds so fucking awful. It sounds dreadful. Like that is that is horrible.
You know, you just wonder where things take you in life sometimes. You're like, how the hell did I end up here?
Man.
But you know, you learn.
Great.
The funniest thing, and I'll leave this on this because it was pretty funny, and I'm gonna go ahead and use a bunch of profanity here. But
all right,
I remember.
So we've been waiting on all night.
One of the biggest memories I have at the casino, the funniest thing anyway. Casinos are loud as hell, you know. They've got all their machines, ding, 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 ding. Oh, come over here and play this game. Oh, I got to you win, cowboy. Yeah, all this bullshit going on in the back. You know?
Sound like a carnival.
That's what it's an adult carnival. And there was all of our tables are in a U shape, and I was sitting at the craps table, which is at the other side of the table, or the other side of the pit, and it was like towards the doors, and this chick was getting escorted out of the casino, and she yells at the top of her lungs, "I did not suck his dick for $5 fucking dollars," and the whole casino looks over at her. That was the best memory I think I can remember at that casino.
Okay.
Hey, man. Let me tell you something. Man.
I think I remember her name. I think it was like Beth.
Talking about calling, I don't think I'm gambling ever again. Like ever.
It could be
So Faith, do you have what's like the top 2 tips for our game? So Koffe Black, we were just in Vegas. Well, weren't just there a little while ago, and he was on what were we at on the roulette table?
Yes.
And you were, and you did what you did. You actually wound up coming out ahead. So what tips do you have? Like, what's the best game? Like just 1 or 2 quick things, and then we'll get out of it.
Oh man, the best game? I can't find it. My favorite game I love to deal was Spanish, which was like blackjack, but it didn't have any 10s in the deck, like number 10. So it had jacks, queens, and kings, but it didn't have any 10s in the deck. It had the best side bets. Anyway, apparently it doesn't exist in Vegas. It existed in California, where I was at, but it had the best odds. It had the best side bets. But my biggest tip, I guess, is to listen to your dealer. Your dealer wants you to win. If you ever have any questions, they will always try to get you to win. They never know anything, so don't ever ask them like, "Ooh, who's this?" and that. They don't know any fucking thing. Like they're as blind as you are. They change the cards every night. That's why you can get a free deck of cards when you go up to the players deck area. But listen to your dealer, ask them questions, and always stay on 13.
All right. I guess I'm going to gamble again.
Yeah.
See how quick life changes?
They'll give you free money to learn games too. So if you ever go to like a craps game, they'll usually give you like a free $5 chip or something to be able to learn the game because they want more people to play.
Holy shit. All right. Well, I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Free money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know how to dismount off the show.
Yeah.
Man. All right.
We covered a lot.
We covered a whole lot here tonight. We covered a lot about faith. We covered a lot about casinos. We covered a lot about goddamn COVID-19, which is going to be an ongoing fucking discussion for probably the next 10 years.
Or it could be like flu, and it could just disappear in 45 days, and everybody forgets all about it.
Nobody's forgetting about this. There's going to be a lot of regrets. I personally know 3 people that have already been put out of their homes in the quarantine. Okay, and 2 of them were married couples. All right, listen, we talked about it before. We talked about it on the last show. Nobody is gonna forget COVID-19. Nobody. Okay, this is gonna be COVID-19 babies.
For sure.
For sure, finna be some COVID-19 babies.
Have a baby boom in
and I am for sure that none of them will be mine. I can promise you that. All right, and guess what? It ain't no goddamn Audible on that one, baby. I'm Koffe Black. I gotta smoke some more weed.
She ain't got the time, do the dime I want. Been up in the sky, I won't. Let a nigga waste your motherfucking time, I won't. That'll be a crime, I don't ever wanna make you think I'ma go for I am. For real on whatever I want. You ain't know that I'm the motherfucking man I am. Scooby never slacking on fronts. Like I'm making shit splash, I'ma dash on way. Got a whole lot of cash in the stash on way. Got a chick in the whip with the cool on way. That's game for the team, we don't lose on way, on way, on way.